Hi everyone, Jay here. As always, I'm going to take you through some recommendations for ways in which we might adapt our CrossFit linchpin workouts for kids. We're going to take a closer look at Tuesday the 10th of May. I'm going to take you through how I might structure this for a class. We're going to start off with our general warm-up, how our specific warm-ups are our skill work, what the workout will look like and the preparation for that, and then a game, and then some cool-down skill work, challenges or study options for you. We're going to take a closer look at Tuesday the 10th of May. We've got a kind of the chief style workout here where we've got 5 cycles of Amrap 3 with a 2-minute rest between each cycle of 5 burpees and 1 ring muscle up. So for our general warm-up, where we're going to allocate about 10 minutes, I've gone 4 rounds of 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off of each exercise. So the 10 seconds there will allow the children to move on to the next exercise. So you might want to set up 3 cones or 3 stations that they work through and then come back round for each of those 4 rounds that they'll go through. So the first movement will be skipping or jumping jacks, depending on where the children are at. So we've got a bit of impact loading there. So the stimulus that we'd get from that skipping. We've got some air squats, so we're looking at one of our foundational movements. And then we've got some bar hangs. And for each round of the bar hangs, change the progression appropriately for the children, but give them an opportunity to do a different progression each round they go through that. So it could be just a bar hang, it could be your hand releases, your side to sides, it could be your monkey taps, or it could be your 360 around the world. So got some great options there to choose from there. Again, that's looking at a piece of one of our functional movements, and it's going to fit into really nicely to sort of the element that we're looking at during today's workout. So for our specific skills, so instead of having the ring muscle up, I've adapted that and we're going to have a pull up. So for the pull up, during that skill piece, we're going to work 2 elements of that. We're going to work body position, and we're going to do that on the floor. So we're going to work on that Superman position or the arch, and then we're going to work on that hollow position, or sometimes you might hear that referred to as the dish. And just working on holding those positions independently. So holding a Superman position and then holding a hollow position on the floor, and then seeing if they can transfer from one to the other. So transferring over from that Superman, roll over into that hollow position. Once you've done that, we're going to place them on a bar. Now the bar is going to be about chin height, and they're going to have their feet lined up underneath the bar, and then we're going to move between those hollow and arch positions on the bar with some toe-assisted kipping pull-ups. And then we're just going to go through the points of performance for the burpee, keeping it really simple, teaching them sort of the steps they want to go through. Try and keep them as strict as possible on that push-up element of the burpee before they jump up. And then for our workout, I've adapted it slightly. I've put a little bit more movement in there for the children just to keep them a bit more interested. I've also put in some elements there to hit some of those things that we like to consider with our CrossFit Kids workouts. So some of that vestibular work in there, as well as moving them from one place to another. And you're going to see 2 rounds of this workout of my son going through this workout. So it's going to be an Amrap for quality. I've allotted 10 minutes again, as usual, for the workout time. You'll probably spend a bit less time actually going through that workout, but including this, getting the children prepped up for the different movements. So we've got 5 burpees, and then they're going to do a 5-meter roving plank. So you might want to set your burpee station up 5 meters away from the rig where they're doing pull-ups, and then they're going to do their roving plank to a cone or the pull-up rig. Then they're going to do 5 toe-assisted pull-ups. Then they're going to do 5-meter bear crawl back to where they do their burpees, and they're going to keep cycling through that. Remember, with your Amraps, keep a close eye on quality of movement, keep a close eye on the level of fatigue, and keep a close eye on their focus. Make sure there's no boredom setting in, make sure they're still having fun, make sure it's an appropriate challenge for them, but not taking them to that point of exhaustion. So in here we've got some vestibular work with our bear crawls and our roving plank. We've also got some vestibular work with that burpees, maybe with a little element of impact loading. And then really we've got that sort of an element of teaching them one of our functional movements. So that pull up. So that bar hangs coupled with our toe assisted pull-ups work systematically and over a long time, that's going to give your children the prerequisites to then start doing some strict pull-ups or even some kipping pull-ups. And they'll have them before you know it, or one day they'll just be able to piece all of those movements together based on the skill work with the Supermans to hollows, getting into the right positions, make sure they're not overarching during the arch of the pull-up, make sure they're staying nice and tight, not overextending through their midline. That's going to be the point of performance I'm most focusing on here. And then we've got a game. We've got a great game today. So I've allotted 10 to 15 minutes this. So with your group, you're going to line everyone up in a circle with their feet touching and their legs apart. So there's a little, almost like a goal between their legs. And everyone's going to bend over and have their hands in like a holly ball spike position. And everyone's going to bend over and try to hit the ball through one of the other players' legs. If one of the players is successful in hitting the ball through the legs, they get to choose one of their foundational movements that they know for the whole group to perform together. Obviously, hopefully they'll choose their favourite. Remember, we're not using the movement as a punishment. We're rewarding the scorer with the opportunity to choose the movement. So the exercise is never used as a punishment. It's almost like a reward. Once you finish that game and play for as long as the children are enjoying it and having fun, you're going to go to your cool down, skill, study or challenge work. Now, we do have some vestibular work in here, but I just thought we could really ramp it up with some handstand progression work. So I'm going to have a video for you showing the different handstand progressions, obviously starting with a plank position and then building up some various progressions for you to use to build up for those children to then eventually get a kick up handstand and then eventually a handstand push up. Before you know it, if they work again, like the pull up systematically through the progressions, and some of the progressions you'll work in parallel. And I'll have a video explaining that for you. Have fun with this workout, guys. Can't wait to see how you get on. So here we have some skill work, just working on those Superman and hollow positions. On the hollow position, my son is driving his lower back into the ground. And during that Superman position, he's trying to extend through his toes and his fingertips. So for the workout, just to recap, we've got 5 burpees, 5 meter roving plank into 5 toe assisted pull-ups. So working on that Superman to hollow position on the bar, and then bear crawl back to the burpee position. So for the roving plank, you can see here his shoulders are stacked over his hands, keeping a nice straight midline. For the toe assisted pull-ups, he's lining his toes under the bar, full grip on the bar. Actually, you can see he hasn't got his thumbs on. I didn't pick up on that. And then he's moving through to that Superman position there, and then back into the dish hollow position as he's pulling himself up to the bar. Once he's finished the pull-ups, he's going to then come into the bear crawl, keeping his knees off the floor and then straight into the burpee. So I try to say for the burpee, aim for your feet with your hands and then aim for your hands with your feet. And then jump up high and clap. Jonah here is going to take us through our first progression when teaching a handstand hold. We're going to call this one the stink bug. You might recognise it as the downward dog in yoga. So I'm going to ask Jonah to face me from there. I'm going to ask him to come down onto his hands and knees. From his position, I'm going to make sure that Jonah's got his hands underneath his shoulders. Good job. I'm going to ask him to push his bum in the air. Excellent. And I'm going to ask him to look at his knees. You can see by just using those simple instructions, it's put him in a really nice position there. And rest. Jonah here is going to take us through our second handstand hold progression. We're going to use a wall walk to get them into a more inverted position than they were with the stink bug hold. So I'm going to ask Jonah to lie down on his belly with his feet against the wall. He's going to have his hands underneath his shoulders. Moving on to this progression, your children would have had experience holding the plank position. So I'm going to ask Jonah to get himself into a plank. He's going to take one step up the wall. He's going to take another step up the wall to match his feet. And then he's going to just look at the wall, keeping his ears, hiding his ears with his arms. And he's got a nice hollow position here, straight legs. And he's going to hold that position for as long as he needs to in the warm-up, the skill, or the workout. And then he's just going to walk himself down onto the floor. Good job. With our wall walk, we can increase the level that the children are becoming inverted to increase the complexity depending on their skill level. So Jonah's going to show us what a wall walk looks like. He's going to push up into a plank. He's going to step himself up onto the wall. And then gradually he's going to walk his hands towards the wall while walking his feet up, maintaining a nice hollow body position, pointing his toes, pushing up, down into the ground. So he's pushing away from the ground. And then to come out of that position, he's going to walk himself down. If you have children that are able to get in that position, make sure that they can forward roll, because the forward roll is the way that we would teach the children to bail out of that should they need to fall forwards. They would tuck their chin and then roll out of the wall facing handstand hold. Our final handstand hold progression is going to be kicking up into a wall supported handstand while facing away from the wall. This would be for those children that have gone through their stink bug progression. They can hold a plank for a period of time and they can get themselves inverted into a wall facing handstand using a wall walk. And now we're just going to add the extra layer of complexity by kicking up into the handstand as well. So with all of those points of performance, hands shoulder width apart, maintaining a stacked wrist, shoulder, hip, and with a kick up now. So Jonah's going to kick up into the wall for us. He's going to have his hands ready, step forward with one foot, kick himself up. He's going to point his toes, push them up into the sky. He's pushing into the ground and he's maintaining a nice stacked position here throughout that movement. And then he just come down, he brings one foot down and then the other foot